Week number one of the 2025 college football season has come and gone. Of course, there were a lot of surprises, a few upsets, but mainly a lot of questions. And I got three big questions going into week number two. Let's get into it. Which of these three SEC teams that had an impressive showing in week number one are going to stand up to a tougher opponent in week number two? Of course, I'm talking about Mississippi State, who went down to Hattiesburg. They looked impressive against Southern Miss, but this week they got to play number 11 Arizona State. Also, Oklahoma. Oklahoma looked great last week against Illinois State, but they got to play Michigan, number 14. And also Vanderbilt. That's right. It ain't the old Vandy. They looked great, remarkable against Charleston Southern last week. But how will they look this week versus Virginia Tech, a much tougher ACC opponent? That's my third most important question to me going into week number two. Question number two for me: which of these three teams that started off ranked in the top 10 but took a loss in week one are going to bounce back the best? Of course, I'm talking about Texas, who went up to Ohio State. They lost a close one in the horseshoe. Everybody's saying that there's some room for improvement there. They bouncing back this week against San Jose State. So we'll see what they do. Also, Clemson. Clemson just got thumped by that LSU defense at home. So now they're trying to bounce back against Troy, a university that I know well, out of the state of Alabama. And speaking of Alabama, the Crimson Tide is welcoming Louisiana Monroe to Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium after a 14-point loss to Florida State last week. So with Texas, Clemson, and Bama all facing L's in their week one, which team is going to bounce back the best this week? And my number one question going into week number two: which superstar, highly touted, is going to bounce back in week two from a disappointing performance in week number one? Ryan Williams of Alabama. Now, unfortunately, we saw him getting carted off in the fourth quarter. By all accounts, it looks like he may have been concussed. We're not even sure if he's going to be available against Louisiana Monroe, but he didn't have a stellar game against Florida State. Also, Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State, highly touted, had a few drops in week one versus Texas. So we're going to see if he can get back on track and if Ryan Day can work him into the game plan a little bit more. And of course, Arch Manning of Texas. That last name on the back of his jersey, coupled with the name on the front of the jersey, both come with very high expectations. He didn't have a stellar performance against Ohio State, but I think I saw some flashes. So we'll see if Coach Sark is going to take the reins off of him this week and let him kind of throw it around. But that's my number one question. Will those three superstars have a better week two and moving forward than they did in week one? Now, if you just love talking college football, make sure you follow me on all of your favorite apps and platforms at FunnyMaine. This is what we do. I love talking some college football, and we're going to dig into it every single week across all my platforms. And I love to hear from you, so make sure you chime in the comments.